Welcome to Ced-Talkz, Shubhankar. This is the first episode of Ced-Talkz, and we are kicking things off. Today's our first guest, that is Shubhankar Sharma. And good morning.
Very good morning, Cedric, and thank you very much for inviting me for this first
Yeah,
podcast. It happens to be my first podcast as well in this format. So, first of all, I would say that best
yeah,
wishes to Set Talks.
yeah.
You
Thank
have
you
been
so much.
really kind in following up, and then we are now meeting.
Certain questions regarding your profile, regarding your health life, how the fitness mantra, and other things also. So, are you ready, Shubhankar? Let's get
Yes,
started.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm ready and very
Yeah.
excited,
Yeah, yeah.
Cedric.
Same here also. Like, let's get started, Shubhankar. So, Shubhankar, like, I was going through a profile. So, you have almost like 15 years of experience into business development. So, how do you get started in this field? So, I was going through a profile. So, I went through profile LinkedIn. So, you started as project trainee. So from transition to project trainee to country manager. So it's a huge transition.
In Gandhinagar,
Yeah.
which is the state capital of Gujarat.
Right, right,
And I was pursuing Masters of Science in IT
right.
from Dhirubhai Ambani Institute of
Mm-hmm.
Information and Communication Technology. So I had an opportunity to do an internship at BISAC. BISAC is a state government arm of space research and geoinformatics. So as a project trainee, I was under Professor Das Gupta,
Correct.
and he was a veteran of ISRO.
Mm.
So my first project was developing an audio video conferencing for LAN and satellite based networks
Mm-hmm.
over there. And if you go back just a year in 2008,
Mm.
so Lehman Brothers collapsed, and
2008
there was
crisis.
this.
Right, right, right.
Yes, yes,
Correct,
yes.
correct,
So there was recession, and the impact was on our batch as well.
correct,
So whosoever used to be the top-notch developer or someone who had really good skills would get the dream job.
correct, correct,
Otherwise,
correct,
if you would struggle, so certain factors were there. So I started with the US based company that had an
correct,
office in Ahmedabad, nearby city. And so my first job was in night shift, and it was a job for supporting the US based company on the
mm.
East Coast. And that's how the journey started. And it will be long, but in a nutshell, I really enjoyed every term of my career.
Correct,
And
correct,
wherever I worked, so I had very good managers.
correct,
I must be thankful that the mentoring I received, the kind of support I received. So that really helped me to shape my career from there. So four
correct,
years
correct,
was in Ahmedabad, and then I moved briefly to Noida,
correct.
and then finally came back to Jaipur. So I am in Jaipur for 11 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
So out of 15 years, 4 years in Ahmedabad, and a sprint of a few months in Noida, and most of it in Jaipur.
But your company is based in, I think, Saudi Arabia somewhere, right?
So yes, so
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia is one of our locations, office
Mm-hmm.
locations. We have offices in 8 countries.
Correct, correct,
So the current organization, when I joined, so we had offices
correct,
in US and India. In
correct,
India, we
correct,
have offices
correct,
Jaipur and Bangalore, and
correct.
US in Idaho. But now we have expanded in span of last couple of years. We expanded to 6 new locations:
Mm-hmm.
Gulf, Europe,
Correct, correct,
uh,
correct,
Middle East, Far East. So absolutely covering all over the globe. So it's has been an exciting journey being
correct,
part of
correct,
it.
correct,
This
correct.
creation.
So next question is, Shivanka, it's a follow-up question. How do you approach business development? Like, it's a competitive market. So I've been so you are a successful business country head. So how do you stay relevant up to the industry standard? Like, What is your approach toward this competitive market?
So I consider still that I am a student of business
Correct,
development,
correct, correct.
and I'll remain one forever. So, especially in terms of technology sales, as
Hmm.
you know, that it's not that you're selling uh, some vanilla product, or things change very fast in
Correct,
technology.
correct.
Today, when I started, things were different. Android and iOS had made
Hmm.
a debut in the industry, and now the maturity of industry with AI, Gen AI. So things change
Correct.
very fast. So on the personal side, you need to keep acquiring new skills,
Hmm.
learning about things, and then how the trends are changing. But when it comes to business development, I think the most important part is understanding people.
Correct,
You need
correct,
to understand the person, their pain point, what problem they're facing,
correct,
and
correct,
the approach
correct,
has to be helping them in whatever capacity or way you can help them
correct, correct,
to
correct,
solve a problem. So that's the elemental foundation of pursuing business development, I would say,
correct, correct.
for anyone who's interested.
So like also like I believe like there's a long term client satisfaction is also like ensured in your like field. So how do you like measure, like how do you, what are the approaches towards it? How do you ensure that like client relations should be there? What are your steps doing it?
Yes, this is a very good question.
Hmm.
So long-term relationships, for example, at In Time Tech,
Correct, correct.
where I am
You're
a country
currently
manager.
correct,
There
correct,
are several clients. We have relationships for more than
correct,
10 years or
correct.
8 years. Year on year, the relationship fostered.
Hmm.
So it's more of being authentic, creating value, and being transparent, living by what you promised, the commitments you made,
Correct,
and also working as a partner rather
correct,
than a service
correct,
provider
correct,
or a client. So just I'll take a case with the uh, even your life. If you go
correct.
to a car workshop or a bike workshop, if the mechanic is interested to work
Hmm.
on your bike or car as if it's his own bike or car,
Correct, correct, correct,
the result will be
correct,
totally different. So likewise, the recipe for long-term relationship is really investing into the relationship and doing all your best day in day out, not
correct,
just
correct.
treating it as just another relationship. Yeah.
So it's a like a competitive environment, right? So how, like, what are the biggest challenges like you face when you are managing the account for because you are doing it for multinational companies, multinational clients. So what are the challenges you face basically?
So multinational clients are basically easy once you
Hmm.
convert them and
Correct,
you
correct,
deliver to the commitments. So
correct,
it's always a long-term relationship with those clients.
correct.
Now the challenge comes when you are building new accounts or relations.
Mm-hmm.
So
Correct,
that's where the role of competition would come, because the primary factor when someone is evaluating is cost and how you appear before any client. So, and India has progressed and grown. There are lots of companies in
correct,
different
correct,
cities.
correct,
So there has to be something unique you can offer, and that's where the role of business development would come, to first bring them to a discussion.
correct,
Uh, that's the most important part, that they listen to you, and that's
correct,
where the human angle would play a role.
correct,
And then it's all about being transparent and authentic about what you can offer to them, understanding their problem and pain points and the value proposition. So obviously, it's a competitive market, so
hmm.
people compare with the other companies,
Correct,
and there are factors like cost and also what value is offered.
hmm.
But I've always seen that clients, when it comes to enterprise clients, cost is not their primary factor. Their primary factor is uh, trust and the kind of value you offer,
Correct, correct,
because they don't want to switch often, because those are big companies. There
hmm.
are lots of bureaucratic processes,
Correct, correct,
alignment, take a decision. So usually to get there is difficult, but once you are there, it's not a challenge if you have strength of your team and you can
correct.
deliver.
So once you have built that trust, because they don't want to switch, because they understand that you you are catering their services, nobody can understand more of you, what you're doing, like understanding their requirement, which is helping them to achieve their revenue, right? So that's why I believe
Right.
that they don't want to switch, because yeah, the long term relation happens, right? So my next
Right.
question is it is quite what are the common mistakes in your career, like anyone can make in software application, choosing software application? So any kind of
Okay.
uh,
So,
hmm.
if you are talking about mistakes in terms of career decisions or mistakes in terms of the projects,
In
or
terms of
what kind of?
project.
Okay. So, experience is most important
Correct.
when you are dealing with
Hmm.
new clients.
Correct,
So, when I was
correct,
initial few years, so there were some mistakes in understanding the scope of work, what the
correct,
client is expecting, and missing some points. But later on, when the project was ongoing, those points would come,
correct,
and there were some misunderstandings, disagreements. Those were learning lessons for me and our team as well.
correct,
So that allowed me to learn more about documentation, to precisely write and agree to what we can deliver. So that's where I
correct,
said that business development is incomplete without the support of your delivery team,
correct,
because whatever commitment we make as a business development team, actually the tech team or the production team, it's on their shoulders. So always ensure that whatever commitment you are making, our team is capable to deliver. So that was a key learning lesson for me. Second was communication. So,
correct.
for example, at In Time Tech, so we are first to share the bad news rather than delaying it.
Hmm.
So you must be aware that culturally, India is not sharing things upfront. We are
Correct,
very
correct.
indirect. But
After something come, like a news comes, then we come to know like layoff is going on or some
right,
issues. Correct,
right,
correct.
right, right. So that's actually not good for the health of projects, because
Yeah,
if you are facing some challenges
correct,
with resources, or any dependencies are there, and you foresee that there will be delay,
correct.
it's important to communicate whenever you realize that. Because if you do not do that,
Hmm.
and you do the last day when the client is expecting, then it will be reputational damage also, and the
Correct.
overall psychological impact will not be good for your relationship.
But
So this is,
yeah,
yes, please.
I agree with your point, Shubhankar. But as you said, in India, like many of the companies are doing maybe if they upfrontly tell the reason, these are the reason. I mean, project is not the layoffs going on. So like any kind of panic situation will come. That's what you find. Like that's why they are not communicating this thing upfrontly to the employees to the team. So are there any kind of reasons
So
attached to it?
there may be reasons, because it is difficult to generalize
Correct.
for every organization, but you may see that if things are not controlled in time, we may
Hmm.
have like what happened with Lehman
Correct.
Brothers,
Correct.
or
Correct. Correct.
Satyam Computers, and Yes Bank. So, and Byju's,
Correct.
it's
But recently
trending,
happened.
right? So that reputational damage is of a different scale. It basically, you cannot mend the wound, because your name is out and everyone is commenting on you. That is a disaster. So I'm
Hmm.
talking about the extreme cases, but usually wherever there is a situation where you see high risk,
Hmm.
it's better to talk to your team, at least the senior
correct.
team, and plan a workaround rather than delaying
Hmm.
it and then waiting for the last moment and then entering into a situation you would not want to.
So you've been
Uh,
like you have seen this like kind of like global crisis as well as in India as also like Lehman Brothers. You were there, like it was in front of like your eyes, like you have seen that era also. Lehman Brothers crisis, Satyam and Yes Bank and Byju's. So like, are there any integrity issues or what's your thought process behind this fraud or behind this issues that comes in?
So obviously, it's not just with them. It's
Hmm.
a, combined responsibility because there are regulatory bodies as well.
Correct,
There
correct,
are authorities. So somewhere the gap is, and the gap may be minor, but it scales to a major one. And once it is caught,
hmm.
then there is no way to go back and fix it. So usually, if you take the case of Lehman Brothers,
Correct,
it's a mortgage business.
correct,
So there was a fundamental flaw how they were issuing credit, and when there were clouds of
hmm.
recession, then there were non-performing assets, and people came on the road. So it was a situation they could not
Correct,
handle. So
correct,
that's why it's important to plan for the worst and prepare for the best, because the worst may happen in
correct,
if you're doing a job. So things like COVID, no one imagined, and a
correct,
lot of people, it impacted multiple sectors. Unlike IT, not every industry has a privilege to do work from home.
hmm.
So when
Correct,
you
correct,
need to go out, so it
correct,
had impacted lives of people. So
correct,
that's the reason I always emphasize, and from my own learnings as well,
correct,
to focus on savings, preparing for emergencies, doing something that may not be a priority right now, but who knows that in the future
correct, correct,
you may have to deal with.
correct, correct, correct.
Uh,
So like you are into leadership, top management role. So like what skills you do like in your opinion you believe are crucial for leading a team? So you are a country head. Uh, in this like particularly in your industry, tech industry.
So I would consider myself, because 15 years, a mid-level
Hmm.
leader, not a
Correct,
senior leader, because
correct,
senior leaders are somewhat
correct,
20
correct.
plus or
Hmm.
yeah. So role of at this point is to support the top management, the
Correct,
promoters of the company, because
correct.
mostly I've worked with mid-sized businesses.
Hmm.
And when the business is scaling to a larger
Correct,
enterprise
correct,
organization, then the responsibility increases. So to support your senior team, as well as to work with your peers, as well
correct,
as
correct,
the entire organization in a way that things get done faster. That's the most important part, and with some quality. So
correct,
for that, you need to have some processes in place, uh, multiple levels of reviews and quality checks to ensure that whatever goes out from the organization is thoroughly tested.
hmm.
And also, if there are any risk or contingencies, then you see that,
Correct,
you first highlight and bring it to your notice of your leadership, and plan work around that. And especially for business development, it's a challenging domain, at the same
hmm.
time full of opportunities if you do it consistently and do it thoroughly. So some tips from very senior leaders who have spent 30 plus years or so in the industry
Correct,
comes. So now, mid-level manager or a leader, their responsibility is to work on that plan, more of bringing speed of execution.
correct, correct,
And so it's basically balancing between
hmm.
the grassroots level people as well as the top guys to get things done with quality and with speed. That's the primary role of a leader like myself.
So you have mentioned like several times in your LinkedIn post as well, like India is a land of opportunities, and it's a right now also you mentioned it's a huge market in India. It's a tremendous big market in India, like lot of opportunities one can even imagine. So I'll come to that question later, regarding the India part, because I know you are a very optimist person, like how you are like you are being like a positive of creating impact regarding your words, regarding your work you do. So my next question is, if any kind of conflicts uh, comes into your team or any kind of within your department, how do you manage it? How do you handle it?
It's a uh, it would be reasonably unfair to say that conflicts never happen anywhere. It can
Correct,
be
correct,
any relationship, not
correct, correct,
just teams.
correct,
Even in your family, people have feud over property and just
correct,
between brothers and sisters.
correct, correct.
So, so it's very the root cause of any conflict, if you see,
Hmm,
will be human nature and difference of opinion. And the people angle comes. If you go in detail, that why people are not agreeing to something. So there are two kinds of conflicts. One is
hmm,
related to work. It can be over taking a decision or an approach to complete a task. That can be one,
correct,
or agreeing to a process. So those conflicts are actually important to come to a conclusion that
correct,
everyone thinks is logically valid. And those conflicts must happen, I would say, because if everyone says yes,
correct,
I think that's not an ideal way. And it would be inauthentic as well, because
correct,
usually everyone has their own opinion and way of looking at things.
correct,
So I think those conflicts are quite common and also important for the performance and the end result. But when it comes to the human part, where you see that someone is not aligned to culture or the core of team, I think that's where communication, counseling,
correct,
having an open discussion, these things are important. But ultimately, uh, we can do our best, but there are situations whereby people think different,
hmm,
and that's the best way is that you do your best and let it then. But being honest and fair to
hmm,
your position and your profile, I think you should always think about. So at In Time Tech, the priority is always
hmm,
people.
correct,
So we should
correct,
always I would not say we should, but an ideal way should be keeping people first.
hmm.
Everything else can be dealt with. If you take care of people, then everything else,
When you say
projects, your
people,
process,
it is you're referring to employees or customers? People, when you say
both, both, both,
both. Okay,
both.
correct.
Because usually it will be unfair that we just say that
Hmm,
because customers, if your team is not aligned
correct,
to any philosophy, then
correct,
I don't think so. That's what separates reputed brand and the rest, because the kind of experience you get at world class brands.
correct,
So everyone is aligned and focused to deliver that. If you go to McDonald's or
hmm,
you go to Pizza Hut, Domino's, so and if it is not consistent, you can escalate. There is a process. It's not that it's always there, but mostly they try to maintain that kind of atmosphere.
correct,
So without investing in training the people or
correct,
understanding the people, it's not possible actually.
correct. Means like you're saying that employees should be well aware of their process. I mean, and leaders should invest their time for I would say yeah, in the training process, so they can understand the responsibilities, what they need to be done.
Right. So just to take an example of in time tech.
Correct.
So what we do is the top leadership. So our top leader,
Correct.
there are five co-founders, and Jeet Kumar is our CEO. So Jeet personally invests into conducting offsites with
Hmm.
everyone who joins, be it a
Correct.
fresher
Correct. Correct.
or be it a lateral hire. So I'm sorry, to make
Correct.
them understand what the company is committed to, what's our goal, vision, mission, and what are the cultural expectations, and how every individual can become better, not just at
Hmm.
work but as a human. So that's most important. So if you are committed to a common goal and you can see that what you want to achieve as a team, I
Correct.
think nothing else can replace that kind of commitment. Because even if you take the case of any domain, be it sports
Hmm.
or not just business, you will see that wherever you see team spirit, there is some leader who brings people together,
Correct.
like
Correct.
Kapil Dev or
Hmm.
Mahendra Singh Dhoni,
Correct.
everyone. There is something
That
about
motivation comes in, and teamwork
right,
comes in there.
right.
Correct. So my next question is like, what are the top lessons over the years you have learned from your mentors, uh, your leaders, and like anyone from like your like inspirations? Like, what are the lessons you learned, and if you like to share some of these lessons?
So I vividly remember the first lesson I learned was from initial days.
Correct.
My manager told me, when you're on call with a client, don't speak a lot. First, listen. Be a good listener. So
Correct.
those words remained with me.
Correct. Correct.
So we usually have a habit to just keep on
Correct.
speaking.
Correct.
Just to, in sales roles, especially business
Correct.
development and sales roles,
Hmm.
people think that if you speak a lot, that will create an impression on clients or prospects. But especially, this is my experience, that let them speak their heart out, understand what they want.
Correct.
So that's very important, listening. So this is one lesson.
Hmm.
The second lesson was discipline in whatever you do. If
Correct.
you are talking to a client or your team, maintaining notes for the meeting, taking notes. So I still keep a diary. I take notes, and I see that a lot of people these days, they just trust their memory. They enter a meeting and then they
Correct.
just
Correct.
see that.
Correct.
And I can tell you that no one watches meeting recordings. When you have
Correct.
meetings,
Correct.
you will record on. But if you have notes, so
Correct.
these notes will, and you just refer to the notes. So taking notes is
I
one
mean, like
example.
the physical you are in diary if you are maintaining it, so we'll remember it.
Uh,
Yeah, that's
right.
something is important. Now
And
nowadays,
one,
like people like more into like yeah recording process. After that, they are saying that they will watch it, but hardly they do it. Right. Correct. It's a great lesson.
yes, it's it's psychological. You
Correct.
won't prefer to listen
Yeah.
to unless it's a podcast like this we are doing
Correct.
for
Correct.
everyone else.
Correct.
So this is one, and also from my current manager,
Correct.
Mr. Sandeep. So
Correct.
Sandeep is a managing director and one of the co-founders. So he told me that, Shubhankar, accept the people how they are,
Correct.
because
Correct.
when you are young, you have high expectations. You want the world to be like you. When
Correct.
you're talking about 20s, when you are
Hmm.
just starting your
Correct. Correct.
career, so usually people are like that. They want everyone to be like how you expect.
Correct.
But later you realize that uh, people are not always like you expect. Your
Correct.
expectations may be different, and that does not mean that they are not good or they are bad. That does
Correct.
not mean that. They can be different. So accept them the way they are, and be authentic about yourself as well, and just be clear about what you expect and what can be done. So that's also a very important lesson I received. And the most important one is on health.
Hmm.
So you were mentioning that we will discuss
Correct.
that. So
Yeah.
I think health is a top priority. So I had developed kidney stones
Oh,
when I was
okay.
having just two or I think less than 2 years of experience in the industry.
It is because
So
like you're not able to manage your time on your health because of these hectic
yes,
work
so
schedule.
I joined a company, used to work in night shifts.
Hmm.
So waking up whole night and then not drinking enough water,
Correct. Correct.
whatever reasons may be.
Correct.
So I developed kidney stones. I got operated. It
Correct.
was not just, it was a first lesson for me
Hmm.
to prioritize health. And I'm seeing so many people of my age and also maybe way junior than me
Hmm.
developing lower backbone issues, shoulder issues
Correct.
because
Correct.
of the lifestyle, sitting postures, these things. And also the food habits, what kind of
Correct.
food, because the frequency of dining out and then consuming outside processed food has increased a lot. So these things, I think, are very important because if you're not healthy, you
Hmm.
cannot perform, not
Correct.
just for your company or your team, but for your family also. If
Correct.
you
Correct.
have children, and because children are full of energy, so
Correct.
they expect a lot from you. Same
Correct.
with everyone. Your
Correct.
parents are getting old, so
Correct.
it's important to prioritize health.
So you mentioned like nowadays people are like in corporate especially like eating out processed food. So like because they are working professional, like do you find like they are not able to manage time for to have the uh, like cooked food?
I think uh, if you prioritize
Hmm.
something
Correct.
and it's
Correct.
really
Correct.
important to you,
Correct.
there is no way that it can be a challenge.
Correct.
For
Correct.
example, if you take an example of senior executives who are mostly traveling,
Correct. Correct.
uh, if they are mostly traveling, then it's difficult. But usually, if you take case of working professionals who work from office or home, having home cooked food is not a challenge. You can do it yourself.
Correct.
You can you have family to take care of it. So if I share my experience, and I keep traveling to if you mentioned Saudi,
Hmm.
so I'm closely working there. So whenever I go, I cook my own meal because it's, and during my work hours, in I get up early in the morning, I take care of it, and when I'm back, I prefer to do that. So it's not a challenge. And also, eating outside is it's not forbidden or criminal. The
Correct. Correct.
frequency has to be less.
Correct.
You
Correct.
cannot just keep on doing that. Otherwise, there will be long-term bad impacts on your health.
Correct. 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 Sure. Noted. Noted. So like like your role also like you have mentioned something about cyber security. So like my next question like what role like consideration play in like software development, cyber security especially? What's your thought process on it?
So cybersecurity is like fuel, I can tell
Hmm.
you. It's very similar to some essential ingredient
Correct.
in your
Correct.
life because it will not go anywhere. It will
Correct.
stay because there will be frauds, there will be attacks, and reputational damages. Such so billions of dollars are lost because of cyber attacks.
Correct. Correct.
And Saudi ranks number one in the cybersecurity index.
Correct.
Just
Correct.
sharing that. So it's an evergreen field, and we have good capabilities in cybersecurity, doing
Correct.
penetration testing and
Correct. Correct.
WAPT
Correct.
assessments,
Correct.
cybersecurity audits. So these things. Recently, you must have heard because you have just made a debut in this interesting
Correct. Correct.
podcast
Correct.
domain.
Correct.
What happened
Yeah, you have
with
mentioned in LinkedIn like
yes,
Ranveer
yes.
Allahabad. Yeah, right, right.
Yes, yes, sir. So my purpose of mentioning Ranveer Allahabadia and Beer
Hmm.
Biceps was that he's a well-known name
Correct, correct.
and quite popular. So if it can happen to him, it can happen.
to anyone.
everywhere, anywhere,
Correct.
anyone. Yes. So that's why it's very important. And I emphasized on this point because I have experiences.
Correct.
Some clients do not prioritize cybersecurity. They think that it's good to have, and the inclination to think that it's must have still not there.
Because in
And
India,
people,
if we see, Shubhankar, still that cybersecurity, like you have mentioned it, like it is still a new thing. Like people, there's a company called TAC Infosec. They have recently listed a SME platform. You might knowing it. So like
yes,
their like aim is to become Google in cybersecurity. So they are saying that it's not a billion-dollar business; it's a $1 trillion industry, cybersecurity.
very true,
That too in
very true.
India. That's the scope of cybersecurity. But still, I've been going through many of the founders leaders, but you are the first one I believe, like someone who apparently like expressed your views like on cybersecurity, like uh, we should invest in cybersecurity. Like, yeah,
Yes, so you're right.
correct,
Cybersecurity is must-have capability for any organization, and it can be done in-house or they can outsource if they are not into technology. So it's an important factor. It's
correct,
very much like wearing a seat belt or a helmet or carrying an umbrella when it rains. So it's like that, basically. It's most important.
correct. And like many of the organizations still like top companies, not, I mean, they are not approached the cybersecurity part. Is there any reasons like you find it?
So it's because I'm not sure about what business they are
Correct,
into and what kind of data and information networks they have, but
correct,
they are basically exposed if they are not investing,
correct,
I can tell you.
correct,
And it's just a matter of someone targeting them. It will
correct,
be really not just a monetary damage or reputational damage. When your name comes out and you are big, then it's difficult to just stop that kind of damage. Because if you are a B2C or even B2B,
correct,
then people have distrust that their data may be exposed alongside.
correct.
So that's the most dangerous factor.
One more thing is like I would like to add, with AI, like hackers have like identified themselves to the top industry, how they can leverage the AI part.
That's another
Yeah. So they
worrying
are always
thing.
level one level up. I don't know how. Like,
Yes.
correct,
So hacker is always a good programmer or a
correct,
developer
correct,
who
correct,
uses his skills or her
correct,
skills in a negative
correct,
direction.
correct,
So hacking, by the way, is not a negative word.
correct,
Hacker can be a positive person as well,
correct, correct,
doing ethical
correct,
hacking. But you do it black hat thing, you damage something, then it's a crime.
correct,
You
correct,
are
correct.
yes.
So now like I have asked so many questions on your career and yeah, professional life. So something like yeah, I would ask something like more about the fitness part. Like in LinkedIn, I found that you're a fitness freak. So how do you prioritize your health and fitness? Because you have very busy schedule. You have been busy with your work all day.
Right.
How do you prioritize your time? How do you manage your time? Because that is
So
essential. You mentioned that health is the top priority.
So first of all, being authentic with you, I am not there where I want to. So
Correct,
my health is, I'm overweight, being honest with you.
correct,
I'm overweight. How I prioritize my health is I love riding and fond of motorcycles.
correct,
So when you go for long rides, you need to be fit because
correct,
it's very demanding and challenging.
correct,
So
correct,
that's the a primary motivation to be healthy, to
correct,
ride a heavy bike. That's the first motivation. Second is, of course, work and also playing with my son. So
correct,
he usually is after me, and when I'm at home, he's very active in terms of doing something around him like that. And when
correct,
you're tired, it's difficult. So that's
correct,
another. But it's not difficult, I can tell you, because
correct,
we start at Indemtech, we start our office early, 8:30. in the morning. Uh, there are two reasons. One is that when you are fresh in the morning, your
Correct.
energy is at high. So I get up early. That's the first
Correct.
point. I prefer to rise early in the morning and usually take some walks in open, and do some light stretching exercises.
Hmm.
I'm not a gym person.
Correct.
Usually
Correct.
prefer long walks and
Correct.
stretching.
Correct.
I don't also not into yoga or something, but
Correct.
usually those, for example, Jeet, who's our CEO, he is a fitness freak,
Correct.
regular
Correct.
person to gyms,
Correct.
even at offsites. I've
Correct.
seen him going to gym. So my lesson and advice to youngsters who are in 20s, especially who have
Correct.
started into
Hmm.
desk jobs, sitting at their desk and looking at the screen whole day. It's better to take breaks, to stand up when you're at
Correct.
office, drink water. A lot of people do not hydrate their bodies. That's
Correct.
uh, very important. And also to cut your time on screen after your work is over. So usually, I have also done it, that people just keep checking their phone
Yeah, Insta
before.
Reels maybe. Yeah. Also.
That's that's actually you can experience that
Correct.
because one of my so I've appointed a person, my coach, his name is Sunil. He's
Correct.
in Bangalore. He's
Correct.
also a
Correct.
senior leader, senior VP of our company. So he told me that, Shubhankar, you try this. You just keep watching these reels or shorts, and after half an hour, if I ask you, you can you share what were you watching? So your mind will not register everything. Many things will just go away,
Correct. Correct.
and it will be difficult for you to sleep after switching off that phone. So I experienced this myself. It's actually not advisable to stay back long during night unless you have something important to do,
Correct. Correct.
and get good sleep, follow a healthy routine. Uh, it's okay to sometimes do night outs and do things you want, but don't spoil your health for that
Correct.
sake. So this
Correct.
this is my only lesson for people junior to me.
So, do you have like any kind of like specific diet or any nutritional habit you stick to it to maintain your health, or is just you are like having the diet you like?
So cutting sugar is important. Uh, so I am a tea person.
Hmm.
I usually have tea early in the morning and then twice during the office. Uh, so I prefer no sugar tea. This is one precaution I take.
Correct.
But
Correct.
I'm not a diabetic, but still I'm taking this
Correct.
precaution. And
Correct.
also I have a sweet tooth, fond of
Hmm.
sweets.
Correct. Correct.
So cutting on the
Correct.
quantity.
Yeah, that is, yeah, like, yeah, I mean, we Indians are like, we are obsessed with this part, like
Right.
sweet, like, yeah, correct, correct,
Right.
correct,
So that's one, and then also usually preferring home cooked food. These three factors
correct.
are there. Yeah.
Now, my next question is like mental health. Like, there been like in social media, you might been like seen the news, like how important is like investing on mental health. And so, what your thought process like how important like one should invest in their mental health. So because still now also in India, people are not talking about this mental health part.
So that's a very important point that you have
Hmm.
said, and I have lost two important people. One, my nephew,
Correct.
committed a suicide,
Hmm.
and a school time friend of mine
Correct. Correct.
who committed a
Hmm.
suicide by throwing himself in front of a train.
Hmm.
So I paid a visit to a psychiatrist.
Hmm.
I asked him that what would be the reason, because we we knew that that person was an introvert. He would not
Correct.
talk a
Correct.
lot, but committing suicide and consciously throwing yourself in front of the train, it's so the doctor told me that we take cold and flu very seriously, but depression is something that we don't care. In India, still people
Correct.
say that, oh, this is just nothing. This is just psychology, nothing
Correct.
like
Correct.
that,
Correct.
which is not okay, because you need to first admit and understand. Either it is you or a friend or a family member,
Correct. Correct.
you first admit that I have depression. That's the most important point. And you won't, the person suffering from depression won't know that. Or
Correct.
you need to visit a counselor or psychologist or psychiatrist to understand that is it depression or not. And there are several reasons of depression. So handling pressure or the challenges of life,
Correct.
these are different. And suffering from depression can be caused due to these factors as well
Correct.
as multiple other factors. So if you take about the cases of suicides that media reports, some MNC is involved and their employee commits suicide, name is out, and then there are posts on
Hmm.
LinkedIn also that, and people blame corporate culture or pressure. But I can tell you that that's not the root cause, because if that would be the root cause, then so many cases would happen very frequently.
Correct.
It's not
Correct.
that. Now, what we can do about it, first thing is to identify that it's a case of mental issue. Your mental
Hmm.
health is not okay. That's the
Hmm. Hmm.
first point. Second is communication and doing things that give you peace. So I was reading a LinkedIn post by the CEO of Basket.
Hmm.
So he mentioned that whenever there is a day full of pressure at office and I reach home, I just watch movies. So that gives me some
Correct.
relief.
Yeah.
Yes. You can try that. You
Yeah.
not just you,
Like
I mean
movies, like
anyone.
it helps us to relax.
Yes. And
Correct.
a second way is that you're not feeling good. You go to a mall, you
Correct.
take a cart and just stroll around the mall, keep looking at the shelves and keep picking.
Correct.
You buy or not, that's different,
Correct.
but
Correct.
you'll feel different. So the second point is changing your atmosphere or doing
Correct.
something to cut that thought process
Correct. Correct.
that's causing that stress in your mind.
Correct.
And third is just talking to people you love or your friends, those who understand you, and just exerting everything out. Don't
Correct.
keep it with you. Just exerting.
Correct. Correct.
Speak your heart out. Just this will just decrease your burden. So there are certain things that we can do, but health, by definition, it includes mental health as well as social health.
Correct.
Otherwise, merely physical health is not enough. So it's very important for a healthy life.
So you have mentioned about empathy also in several times in your LinkedIn post. So like it is also important for in mental health also. We should have empathy towards others if someone is going through depression or anxiety.
Yes,
Correct.
yes. So if someone, if by birth
Correct.
someone is having a challenge,
Correct.
is not fit like you, this is, or
Correct.
due to some incident in their lives they are suffering through, you must be empathetic towards them, because they don't compare them to your life.
Correct.
So a friend of mine told me that
Correct.
never brag or uh, God never gives 100% to anyone. You
Correct.
pick any example, even the most successful people, they have some kind of missing element in their life. They
Correct.
say it or not, but that's there.
Correct.
And also, the second part is never uh, laugh at someone or make fun of them,
Correct.
because you never know their life, what they're
What they are
going
going through,
through.
what struggles they are going through, like what,
Right.
yeah,
So,
what is the phase, like mental trauma,
right,
anything they are going through.
right.
Correct.
Right. So that's also very important. So empathy is It's also not optional. It's one must being human is being empathetic. You must have that kind of feeling for others.
Correct, correct. So like yeah, health part is covered and your professional part is covered. So now regarding more about the what you posted on LinkedIn, your thought process, like just want to understand your mind. Like you have mentioned something about like in LinkedIn, uh, like political loyalty and business loyalty, avoid social poisoning. We should have respect for other opinions. So like yeah, so can you please elaborate and what's your thought process on it?
Yes, so LinkedIn is one medium where I express myself, and it's quite natural for me. So I people may think that I take a lot of time for writing, but
Correct, correct,
it's very natural. I can the way I am talking, I can write a post in few minutes
correct, correct.
because
Even
it
I
comes
also
naturally to.
thought because you have been very active on LinkedIn, so I thought like
Yes.
you're investing like your major time in LinkedIn. But yeah, now you said like not really.
It's very much like
Yeah,
taking few minutes and just posting something and just
correct,
back to work.
correct,
It's like for me like that. So I was fond of reading books, and this is because my father used to bring some books when he used to work, and he invested a lot on books
correct, correct,
compared to his monthly
correct,
income. He would invest a good part on books.
correct,
So that is one reason I used to read books. And writing in general, I'm interested to, and I write on paper as well and write. So that's why I write. And now about the point that you raised about political loyalty or business loyalty or
correct,
social poisoning. So things are changing very fast these
correct,
days.
correct,
There are no, unlike the preceding generations who used to be with one political party for their lives,
correct, correct,
whole lives. Now the thing is that people, and same with if you see our father's generation,
correct,
and our grandfathers, they used
correct,
to stick with one company for
correct, correct,
rest of their lives.
correct,
Now you can see that people are not loyal to their political party; they're changing parties.
correct, correct.
That's one. Second
Because of
is
the opportunity other parties
yes,
are giving, right?
yes.
Correct,
Same with jobs. People are hopping, not
correct,
switching. They're hopping in matter of months also, and like that. I've done that twice in my career when I switched jobs in months,
correct,
and that's I always see a long term with any organization.
hmm,
So that's where I start. Wherever I see that it's not about it's not a good company or I am not there. It's not like that. It's not a good match. That's the
correct,
only
correct,
point, that alignment. So, other than that, I have stayed with the organization like 6 years. Uh, Here also, I've completed more than 3.5 years, and I wish
correct,
to
correct,
continue.
correct,
So, stability is important to create something. Otherwise, you'll just keep on changing things and hopping. So, change is good, but frequent changes are not good, and it's not a good sign on your. If you see the top guys of any organization,
correct,
they have stayed with the company for long. Like Japanese companies, you see the people who lead these companies like Honda
hmm,
or Toyota. They started very early in their career, and then they rose to prominence, never changed the company. Same with Satya Nadella. He started
correct,
in Microsoft during the
correct,
early 90s, and still he's the top person. So that's one. Now, social poisoning is what just for your selfish interests
correct,
or your own gains, you are dividing people in the
correct,
name of any factor you can
correct,
take. It can be a region based discrimination, or religion based, or
correct,
caste based, or language based, or any kind of
correct,
discrimination. For example, in our country, uh, we are fortunate that we are full of diversity. We
correct,
have
correct,
multiple languages, multiple cuisines, and cultural diversities. Everything is there. So
correct,
it's a good thing. It should be celebrated rather than creating a kind of a divide amongst our people.
correct,
So I
correct,
am a flag bearer of oneness. So keep